Mm, 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 mm. Hi, and welcome to the let me start again. Welcome to the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's Dogman Teepee Hunting. This week I've got Chris Matchin. Is that right? Matchin, isn't it?
Chris
For a
Meechin.
second time.
Sorry, it's
Mitchin.
yeah, no, my Facebook account of it is my third one. I've had to change my name each time, and my birthday is right. My name is Chris Meechin. It's but
Meechin.
the picture's very real on it, you know.
Yeah, fine. Chris Meechin, lovely bloke, and a wealth of knowledge, and also really just interesting to talk to because he's kind of like got quite a varied scope in from UFOs to cryptids and all kinds of things, as you'll know from looking at the first video that we done, first video interview, or listen to that. So what I wanted to talk to Chris about this week is mostly about aliens. And first of all, how are you doing, Chris? You okay?
I'm fine, thanks, Phil. We're just enjoying this lovely weather at the moment. It's been really a real treat so far, you know.
Yeah, I know. Long may it go on. Long may it go on. But yeah, things are really hotting up, and they're really hotting up as well in the UFO sector as well.
Yes,
with a lot of
very interesting times coming up at the moment.
Very interesting times. I was listening to a podcast about the Congress in the States. And they've been pressured into releasing information on, I think, October the 18th. I could be wrong.
That's correct. Yep.
Oh, that is right. Am I? All right.
As far as I know, I think that come out that it was Danny Sheehan has been beating that drum now for a little while now. This October date has been mentioned several times now.
Yeah, I mean that's. But it's once again, you know, I would like what I would like it to be, and what it's actually going to be is two different things entirely, isn't it?
Of course, they're not going to. We're not going to see a massive reveal in October. I honestly think this there's going to be a handover of information that was. I think you would have to look up the actual clauses and the paperwork, the actual legalities of it. But top and bottom, there's some paperwork has got to be handed over to this body in October as a deadline. And I personally think that something will slip. I don't think we're going to get a massive reveal, but I think one of the companies that are supposedly in possession of this stuff, they're actually going to cough something up. They're going to break the silence. But that's what I feel at the moment. I mean, I could be completely wrong at this point, but from what I can gather, once this information is written into law, they have to cough up what they know on paper. They have to give it by October the 18th.
Yeah. Do you think I was listening to Jeremy Corbell in one of his latest interviews with an English guy who's got a UFO podcast. He was talking about both him and George Knapp were privy to information within the skiff.
Interesting.
Do you think they know? No, I don't want to be. No, obviously they do a good job, both of them, and the coverage they've done is second to none, and they really push things forward. Really push things forward. But I sometimes wonder, are they aware? Do they know more than what they're letting on.
Oh, 100%. We've got, I listened a lot to Ross Coulthart, and he's quite open about that fact that he's privy to information that we haven't heard yet. He's absolutely hell bent on protecting his sources. However, he makes it no secret at all that he knows more than he's letting on. He says it in almost every one of his shows. Now, I think also, again, you would definitely have Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, that would have information just as Ross Coulthart has obtained information beyond what we know, and they would be absolutely protecting their sources. I think they know a lot about the timeline, because I mean, I'll be quite happy to talk to that about any time. There's a little bit of a contradiction. Some say there's a timeline, some say there's not. Grush says he's never found evidence of like a schedule. However, the way things are unfolding, several interviews with John Ramirez, he's an ex-CIA agent. He's come forward and said there's a schedule, this is a timeline. There is something. This could be the final secret, maybe. You know, one last secret. I don't know, but I believe there is some sort of timeline that's being followed, and I think almost definitely these faces, these well-known faces, journalists that are covering this story, brave enough to cover this story, they definitely know more than they're letting on. 100%. I have no doubt about that.
I do agree with you. Yeah, I do agree with you. Because they're quite select. You know, when the committee has these gifts, they're very select on the journalists they have in. Which makes me think that the journalists that they have in, they're willing to share the information, knowing that they can share it in confidence.
Absolutely, yes.
It's interesting you say that 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 there's going to be a possible reveal. You see, when I think that a lot of our answers lie in the past, from the point of view of when we see these images of the moon, we see these structures on the moon,
yes,
and the race it was to get to the moon at the time. And some of the anomalies are just so strange. And there's a lot of people that do believe that they were racing to get to the moon, no more, no less than to gain secrets. They knew there were secrets up there of alien tech, and they wanted to get there first. Do you think that's probably the case?
I think they've gone up there exploring to see what they can find. If when they landed on the moon, that was the first time in human history that we have left our planet and landed on another. Okay, I think they had to do that, regardless of what. I think that was the first time they went. Without a doubt, that was their achievement. That was their goal, to set foot on another planet, bring a few rock samples back, take a few pictures. From what has been said in the past, that I do believe they may have seen something up there that they couldn't explain on that first visit, and possibly they were told to keep quiet about it, which some did. Some have been a little bit more vocal about it. But I think possibly once they were up there, once they'd taken the big step that they took, they planted a flag in that moon and come back in one piece. That was the first goal. Then they went back several times. They went back several times, and it wouldn't surprise me if on them missions that they not only that were they collecting rock samples, possibly air samples, or I'm not sure what they would have collected up there, that they were actually also looking for anything else that they could see that may have been unusual, different, structural, that had been built in the past or something. And it quite possible they actually found something that they still haven't
Yeah.
revealed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a debate at the moment, isn't it? Because the soil samples they brought back, evidently, if I get now, let me think, let me get this right. I'm no scientist, but I believe the rock samples and the soil samples had deposits of some post-nuclear element. So in an atomic explosion or a nuclear reaction, there's an element like I forget now. I'd have to Google it. But if
Yeah,
anyone knows, let us know in the comment. They found some nuclear element or remnant nuclear element that is not natural. It has to be man-made. It can only be man-made, and they found that in the soil up in on the moon. So as if there was something that happened there, which was artificially induced, a nuclear explosion artificially
now
induced on
that's
the moon.
really interesting because
Mm,
it's if they found radiation, you would think. I'm definitely not a rocket scientist, but rocket it's run on fuel. It's not nuclear. It's there will be no radiation. There'd be no
no,
contamination of that soil on the way back unless they were carrying warheads with them, which I don't
good,
think they would have been. You know,
no,
so
no, no.
that is very interesting. That's the first time I've heard that as well. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like cesium 148 or something, something like that. As I say, I'm not a scientist, but I did read about that, and also the moon craters, the actual craters, they're all the same depth, all of them. So they were hit by asteroids, and the asteroids hit. When they hit the moon, didn't matter on the size of the crater, whether big or small. They only reached the same depth throughout, which
Interesting.
which does
It does
kind of
raise some questions, like
raises questions. Sort of like, is it a alien body that has come in? Many years ago. Is it a starship?
I, you hear so many different theories of this. I've
Mm,
heard in the past that the moon could be hollow, that there could be bases up there. There's monuments up there. Definitely, strange things have been seen and reported by astronauts up there for sure. To us, it looks desolate on the surface. It's probably the most loneliest place you could ever think of. But
mm.
we still have no idea what's below that soil past probably a few meters. I don't think. You know,
No, they did
we
try
think
drilling, didn't they? They did try.
I think they did, but I'm not sure how far they could have got. If in
No,
zero gravity, there's no gravity. How it would have been.
no. I think they drilled, and they got down only a few inches before their drill bits broke. It hit something really, really hard, and they broke. I believe that's because there's a few little things that was released. There was a few little bits and bobs that, like with Armstrong, when Armstrong went up, they got rid of the recordings. So we've lost the recordings. We can't
Yeah,
find the recordings anywhere. But they had transcripts, and they had to release those some years later. And that was when they heard, I think it was Armstrong, he looked across a crater, and there was that famous thing where he said on the transcript, I can see some craft, um, uh, and they look like ships. Yes, yes, they're looking at us.
yeah. I definitely have heard that before. That Armstrong see something up there. And that's right.
Yeah,
You did it right. It was on the edge of a crater, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a lonely place when you think, and even more lonely because William Shatner went up on SpaceX, I think it
Yes, he
was.
did.
Yeah, he went up. Bless his heart. I'm so pleased he did. But he went up there, and when he came back down again, they asked him and said, "Oh, William, what was it? What was it like? Was it like, did it fulfill all your dreams?" Being because of Star Trek and all the rest of it. He said, no, he said, I never realized, he said, just how empty it is. He said, there's nothing there. You look out the window and it's nothing there at all. And that was his own words. Yeah. Quite solemn about it as well.
Yeah,
Interesting,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. They have that. Some there's a couple of astronauts reported similar things when they've looked back at Earth. There's a name for it. Again, I'd have to Google that as well. But there's a name for it. They have like an epiphany moment looking back at Earth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can't think what it said. I'm sure they put a name, like a nickname to it or something. But
Yeah.
it's like a loneliness, like, oh my God, how small we really are, like moment.
Mm.
I think, you know.
Yeah, and it's almost like our planet is so bright, so blue, so full of everything in this vast ocean of blackness.
It
And that's
doesn't
what
fit, does it?
it
Weird.
always makes me think, well, now, I'm not a flat earther at all. I must admit, I'm not a flat
Thank
earther.
God for that.
I'm not a flat earther, not at all. No, that's I don't. I honestly can't see the logic in that. There's just too much evidence against it. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, I do find it strange that on all the NASA shots, you never see the stars
Interesting.
from
But
space
then,
station. Never see the stars.
is it possible that they've got their own internal light pollution stopping that? I go out and with C5 group. I'll go out as regular as I possibly can with them, and we a couple of places we've tried in the past. The light pollution is so bad you can't see anything even on a clear night. So we'd only take a little bit of light pollution from the craft itself to block out any real imagery of the stars themselves. Or another thing is going back to what you've just said about William Shatner. How empty it is. You know, you don't. If you've got a camera and it's taking a picture of is this black, you would have no idea how far that camera can actually really see. It could only be 20 meters in front of it. It could be 2,000. You know.
Yeah, true.
You know, so there's a couple of factors there. Maybe it's, and I don't think the space station's very far out into orbit, is it? I think I think the moon's it's between the space station.
Isn't
Between.
the moon 279,000 kilometers?
I think so. I was going to say 250, 280. It's something like that. But
Something like that.
It's between the Earth and the moon. So if it's, I'm not 100% sure.
No, I think it's nearer. I think it's just on the. I think it's on the periphery of our orbit. The Earth's orbit. I don't think it's very far up, like you said. I don't think it's very far up at all. Because when you see shots of the Earth from that, it's it's very hard for them to focus on the whole of the Earth. When you see a shot of a spaceship or a satellite looking back at Earth, as it gets further away, you can see it focusing in on a whole ball of Earth. But the space station is, I've never seen a shot where it's taken like kind of managed to get the whole of the Earth. So I don't think it's very far away at all. I think you're right.
I've just Googled it on my phone. It's 250 miles.
Wow, no way. That is so close.
Yeah, it's on the. I mean, it's like it's in our close orbit. You know, that's not very far
close. No.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's possibly another thing. So with the Earth behind it, especially in a daylight area of the Earth, you would have multiple points of light pollution. You struggle to see any stars with that amount of light pollution.
Yeah, yeah. No, you got a point. You got a point. You have got a point. Yeah.
I bet there's tools on it, or if they wait until they're in a nighttime part of their orbit, they'd be able to see a lot more. But that's I'm only offering possible explanations to that. It's if they've never seen, if they've never took a picture of the star with that, and it's likely because of the logistics of it,
Probably.
rather than anything sinister. I think anyway.
Yeah, yeah. No, probably. Yeah, probably. No, you got a point. So when you go out and you go, would you mind letting us know? You know, when you go out with your team,
Yes.
do you mind letting? Because I don't belong to any UFO team as such to go out. But what's your normal setup? What happens?
So we'll a small group of us will meet up. I mean, I've only ever been out 6 or 7 times in total, and the first time there were 3 or 4 of us met up, and we met up in Leicester. We'd never met. I think 2 of the guys, they'd met each other, but the other 2, I'd never met anyone there. It was all done through Facebook, and we met up. And we talked open, like we're talking about the topic, you know, different aspects of it. Then we went into our own personal experiences, who I've met. Oh God, I wish I could get you this guy to talk to you, Phil.
All right.
I see some weird stuff and have done since I was a kid. Weird, strange things happened, out of body experiences, orbs, triangles, very bizarre coincidences, like a dog animal that I've seen 3 times. This guy sees 3 UFOs every single day of the week. He's got terabytes and terabytes of data, of photos, videos, voice recordings from when he weren't quick enough with his phone. He's got terabytes of this stuff that he's taken over the years.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He's got voice recordings of what?
So what he does, if he's not quick enough with his phone, he'll get the voice recorder and he'll say it's the 12th of July, 2024. I'm in Hyde Park, London, and I've just seen a silver orb.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So he's made a catalogue of this information. He's very, very secretive, but he has shared this catalogue with me. And I mean, I have asked him if he would go public with this. He's definitely not up for that. He sees that many, Phil, that he believes these things are following him.
Okay. Well, can I ask, without breaking any of his confidence?
Yeah, of course.
Only tell me what you think is, you know, general, basically.
Yes.
But are the craft that he sees, are they in orbs only, or are they actual craft?
No, Phil, I'm not joking. He's seen discs, orbs, triangles. He's got a video of an orb splitting into 3. He's got a picture of a shape shifting UFO, like it's a glimmering turquoise ball thing that splits up. He's got orbs, he's got blue orbs, he's got orange orbs, he's got slight discs, I've never seen anything quite like it after I've met this guy at a CE5 meeting.
Okay, that's interesting. I've seen orbs split.
Well, I'm dead jealous because I mean, I've probably in my life, but strange experiences, very, very many, very, very many strange coincidences and stuff. But actually, orbs and things, I've only ever seen about 20, maybe 30 max. I don't see them very often. I've seen more in the past year or so than I ever have. But in the past, I always dismissed them as like a shooting star, or you know, a satellite, a strange satellite that can turn corners, or so. You know, I've dismissed it. This guy, he's catalogued every single one. He's catalogued every single one.
Yeah,
his collection is incredible, and such a genuine, lovely guy. He's got he's a very professional job, by the way. He's not he's not just a tin foil. You know, this guy, he's a professional.
Yeah.
You know, owns his own house. I mean, this guy is for real. I mean, one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life, and he's so humble with it. He's you know, and I think he personally, I couldn't say whether he was being followed or not, but I believe him. Phil,
Does he think he's being? Does he think he's being followed, Chris?
I mean, the amount of activity that he actually sees in the skies. He's thought it, whether he thinks it all the time or, you know, I have different opinions when I see orbs, especially, just for argument's sake. You know, I know if one's very close by, it's likely that it was meant for me to see that. If I see one miles away above somebody else's house, that doesn't seem personal to me. It means that I've had a sighting, yes, but it wasn't a personal contact experience. This guy, everyone that he sees are personal contact experiences. They're very, very close. They're above his house. They're where he goes for a walk. He sometimes sees them in town centre. He actually posted on one of our C5 groups, which I thought was I thought it was very brave of him, because he's very, very discreet. He actually posted a video of an orb above Hyde Park in London, and brilliant video. You know, I've seen his collection. It's practically endless.
Blimey.
Yeah, and I've during the C. So these are the type of people that I've started to meet during these C5 meetings. Okay, so there's my friend who I'm talking about, who I absolutely I trust him. I know he's for real. He really is for real. You know, and I've met. I also go to other groups. So our little group is Leicester. On the C5 webpage is the Leicester group. I also attend Nottingham Mansfield group, and when I'm in Brighton, I've met up once with the Brighton group, and the Brighton group. And if any of you guys from the Brighton group do ever see this podcast, I think you are all absolutely amazing. You were so friendly and kind. I'm very nervous around and it is quite a big group, Brighton group. And when we attended, I think there was about 10 of us there in total. At Leicester group, it's only usually 3 or 4 of us.
Yeah.
And then Nottingham Mansfield was an even bigger group. And I must say again, thank you very much. I had an absolutely awesome evening up in Nottingham Mansfield, and you were all absolutely amazing. I hope you're listening to this. We meet up, then we start having chatting stories, and this I've met some absolutely amazing people during this, and then we'll sit down and we've listened to crop circle noises quietly. So I'm not 100% sure how they've done this, but they will record from the center of a crop circle. You can actually Google, it's online on YouTube and stuff like that. Crop circle noises, and it's almost like chimes. It come through as chimes. But they've been taken, the recordings have been taken in the center of crop circles, and then we meditate. Then we'll do a meditation. It's usually, I think it's about 12 to 15 minutes meditation. There's like a protocol that you follow during the meditation. So the top and bottom of it is you would start off in the meditation grounded, being in touch with the earth, and then slowly you would come away from the earth, and then you start heading up. So you vector. It's called vectoring out. You vector out. So it's very helpful if anyone's listening to know exactly where you're doing the meditation. Get a rough idea where due north is. Get your bearings, your north, south, east, and west. So when you imagine yourself leaving the planet, you go up in the sky and you start looking. You're looking for anything unusual during the meditation, and then when you find it, you try and interact with it during the meditation, and then you vector back. You vector back to where you started from. So you imagine yourself coming back from space and very slowly coming back down to the ground. And all the while, you're trying to entice what you found up in the sky in your meditation back with you.
Okay. Do you, how do you know how to do that? Did the group show you?
No, so the group did show me, but I had heard of it. It was Stephen Greer that come up with this protocol originally, and I think he. I mean, anyone that is into this particular topic, just Google Stephen Greer CE5. I don't think he practices anymore. I think he's more for the disclosure effort itself, opposed to the contact, i.e., let's get this out on the table and then we can start making some proper peaceful contact.
Yeah.
But
so tell me more about the crop circles. Well, I've not heard of that before. Listening to how do they know where to put the microphone?
I have no idea, Phil. I've heard it several times at the CE5 meetings, but I'm a little bit not skeptical, because I do believe that however they've recorded these noises, that they have been done inside crop circles. But I don't believe it's the crop circles making the noise.
And it's chimes.
Oh, it's like chimes. Let's have a look. I'll do another quick Google search.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Crop.
Well, while you do that, I'll tell you. A funny thing is, when I go looking for, I was talking the other day, and what it was, I said that with teepees and structures in the forest, because they're a lot of times they're in geometric shapes.
Yes.
To me, they're like a 3D version also in a forest of a crop circle, because a lot of them are star patterns. You know, the sticks are arranged in such a star pattern. So when I looked at my photos, I thought, do you know what? They remind me a lot of a geometric pattern. Now, you saying that the chimes. Now, I've been in forests where I've left the microphone and left it overnight, gone back, and before I put it down, I always say 5 p.m. Saturday, blah 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 date. And just left it and buried it under a log or something, just left it running. And gone back, gone through the whole 12 hours, it would be 12 hours, gone through the whole 12 hours, just have a little look. And then I see spikes where sound comes on the spectrograph thing. I see spikes. So I listen in. Anyway, I've got some recordings where you can hear like a metallic door opening in a forest at night.
Interesting.
You can hear chimes.
I'm wondering if this is something similar. You know, I'm wondering if it just sounds. So I've typed in crop circle sounds, and there's atmospheric crop circles, a video. It doesn't tell me if these were recorded, but when I'm actually going to see my friend tomorrow.
Okay.
And when I finish work, I will ask him, and what I'll do as soon as I find out how these sounds are made, I'll just drop a note onto the feed.
Brilliant.
Of the video, so everybody can see it.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
They're like chimes. That's exactly what you've just described. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what I had on recording. I've got it on one of my YouTube videos. I'll put a link to it on the description here. Also, when you see your friend tomorrow,
yes.
I done a video of a very unusual orb. So I was walking through looking for Dogman cryptid
Yes. Yeah.
structures and stuff, and I was going along, do. And a lot of times it happens when I don't expect it. And I saw this flashing light really quick in the woods, really quick flash. And I thought, first of all, maybe it was a car headlight from a distance. And I thought, oh, that's odd. So it happened so quick, Chris, I couldn't really take it in, myself.
No.
So I then do what most researchers do, which I'm sure you do. You go through your footage. So I went through the footage, and that takes forever. And I was like, looking, bing, bang, bong. I saw where those lights were in the forest. It was two orbs, and they were
Oh, wow.
dancing with each other.
Wow.
And these orbs were interacting. One was a bright white one, and the other was like an obsidian black orb, and it was reflecting sunlight off of the top of it. Interesting. Now, I slowed it down as much as I possibly could, and then took a couple of stills, ripped some stills off. Show you friend tomorrow. I'll send you the link for the video.
Yes, please. I'll be very interested in that.
Because I would be really interested, Chris, to get his take on what that is. It something he's seen? Because this black orb, what I swear to you, what it did, you can see it splitting, and then turning into an abacus. So there's multiple little black orbs coming down from it.
Fascinating.
Yeah. It's one single orb just split away, and multiple, and it looks just like an old abacus. It was, I was like, what? Seriously? And this thing was shifting. It was shifting. So yeah, I'll be very interested. I'll send you a link personally over on Messenger just to show him the video, so that I'd love to see what his take is on it.
I'll have a chat with him tomorrow, but I have asked him in the past if he would come forward with this, but he will not, and I don't want to pressure him or anything like that. But he would always share his pictures with me. He knows I wouldn't get his stuff. Anything that he shared with me, it stayed with me. I wouldn't talk about it, but unless he told me I could share that, I wouldn't be able to share some, because I have got some. Only a tiny piece of his collection that he sent me. Some just fascinating stuff, but I will ask him how these crop circle sounds are made, how they're generated. I'm quite interested myself.
Be very interesting. Be very, very interesting. Also, do you know what? I've been having a little think, and I thought to myself that, a lot of people that have these interactions, like yourself, myself, your friends, you, it changes you slightly.
Yes, it does. Every single one
changes you.
Every single time I've seen something, and I haven't dismissed it. I could quite safely say, definitely, from the black triangle I see as a child, that was a turning point in my life.
Yeah, the Cosford Triangle. Yeah,
it changed my cousin. It changed him forever. But myself, I didn't feel the immediate change when I see that. But looking back with hindsight, I was at a huge crossroads of my life, and I wouldn't say I took the wrong path, but I could have took a much better. I could have took a much better one. Let's put it like that. I've had a really interesting life, but if I'd have took the other path at that time, I was 14. I was doing my SATs. I was doing my options for my GCSEs.
Yeah,
it was about that time. But I was at a huge crossroads, and the sighting did it changed me to the point that I knew there was something. I knew there was something else, whether that belonged to the military or if it was from outer space or from under the sea. There was something else it's something I'd never ever seen or comprehended before. Now, the orb sightings that I've had, it was last year, the night before my birthday. It was the 21st of September. And that sighting has taken me, it's allowed me to come out of my shell. it's allowed me to talk freely about it.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas pre about 2017, I never spoke about this stuff ever. I always thought the weird stuff that happened to me was just me, just me, or just blame anything else. And it wasn't until I really sat down and thought about it and thought, no, this stuff happens to me. I see this stuff. I counter this stuff. And then it was my birthday last year or night before that I had the experience. It was out in my back garden. I see this thing. It popped out of the cloud about 20 meters above my house, and I honestly thought when I first saw it, I thought it was a star. I thought the cloud was parting to reveal like a bright star. And this thing, it dropped below the cloud. It travelled about 20 or 30 meters over the houses. Bear in mind, it's only about 20 meters off the ground, and disappeared into the cloud. That changed me. That prompted me to just, I know I see these things. That was I think that was not the straw that broke the camel's back, but it was like, right, do you know what? I'm going to be proactive about this. If I'm going to see this stuff, I'm not going to ignore it anymore. And I want to find people that this is happening to. I want to talk to people that this also happens to now, whereas before I would never have spoken out about this.
Yeah.
5 years ago, no way in the world I would have sat down and be speaking with you on a podcast. Oh my God, that's just, it would never have happened.
No. So do you think that, so I've got a bit of a theory, and my theory is this: with all the people I've spoken to, they're all look quite they've articulate, intelligent people. They're not babbling fools.
No.
Right? They've got jobs and they've got families and responsibilities. Okay.
Yes.
Now, they see these things, and there's something in them that slowly but surely, like you say, they want to share, and they because it's so big what they see, and it's such a mark on them mentally that they have to almost get it out there to share, to justify the fact that they have seen it, to give it some, what's the word, to give it some validity.
Yes.
Just to say, look, I did see this. It was out there and I saw it. So much so, I'm willing to go on the podcast and talk about this to everyone that wants to see.
Absolutely. It's like, this is how much they can change your life.
Yeah. So that being the case, Chris, when we see and lots and lots of people see these UFO craft, and they do you think that these UFO craft appear to people a little bit like almost a turning point in their life? Put it this way, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So it started off with the Mad Monkeys.
Yes.
And they saw a monolith. And at that point, they saw the monolith. They changed and they picked up a bone and used it as a tool. That was a turning point for them. That was almost like a marker in the ground saying, right, from this moment on, you have evolved thus far that you can now carry on. The next turning point, a monolith on the moon. Once again, man travels to the moon, finds a monolith there. It's almost like a point in the ground saying, you have evolved thus far. We're going to allow you to carry on. Do you think that they're, in a way, take it to what we see, in a way, they're kind of, it's almost like a flipping game. They show themselves as orbs, they show themselves as UFOs, they show themselves as these enigmatic creatures and beings and entities. They instill inside our heads this eager want for the truth and justification for what we see, do you think it's done on purpose so that they get
I,
that reaction because they want us to proceed? They
I
want
think
us to move on.
I think they're almost provoking us into like a faster evolution. I don't know how you would
Mm,
put that into words. You know,
yeah.
over the years, you could start with Ezekiel's account in the Bible. I mean, I can't quote it, but the story is that he see a wheel within a wheel. He was taken aboard this craft, and then at some point he was asked to make a building to hold the craft. So they've interacted, they've tested him, they've come down and seen what he can do.
Yeah.
So that was 5,000 years ago, and all throughout history, there's been so many interactions, and you've got people like Jack Valet. He talks of like the gifting fields. Have you heard him say that? I'm sure it's
No.
the
No.
gifting. Yeah. So part of his one of his theories is that when they find intact, because apparently they have found intact craft with it's just been left there in an obvious place, they think on purpose. So it's been gifted to us. They think this stuff has been gifted to us in the past, and they've
Okay.
tested us. I think they've tested us for thousands and thousands of years to see when we're ready to actually use this stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what you say about the bit with the monolith, absolutely. I think they are if they have a some sort of temporal agenda, I think. So they've got an
It is.
agenda over time, but I'm unsure. I wouldn't like to really speculate over it, but definitely an agenda over time, because like the pyramids and it goes. The stories go back to thousands of years about
Pyramids. Oh my
pyramids.
word! I know. Yeah,
These are
oh my word!
these are markers in time.
Markers in time. They are indeed, and I mean the Great Pyramid in Giza. I mean, for goodness' sake, in the King's Chamber, they found that sarcophagus. This box. Was it 5 by 5 foot by 7 or something like that? Some box. But in the Bible, so I'm not really read up. This is just an off the cuff podcast.
Yeah,
So I
no,
haven't done any.
same as me, off the cuff.
I haven't done any. Same as you. We haven't done any reference digging around. Maybe we should have done, but you know, it's just we wanted to go on and just like we haven't really spoken for a while, have we? So
No.
So they found the sarcophagus in the king's chamber, and evidently it's exactly the same, and it's of no use there. And they think it was brought in after the Great Pyramid was built, and it's exactly the same size as the specifications for the Ark of the Covenant, and they believe the Ark of the Covenant was kept in there.
That is very interesting.
Yes, in the king's chamber. Tunnels underneath the actual Great Pyramid have been seen. So there's tunnels underneath there, and those tunnels deflected the Nile water. So the Nile was actually over more years ago, over by the Great Pyramid, and they used those tunnels to flow water underneath the Great Pyramid, because it reacted with the minerals and crystals in the rock and created this energy.
Interesting. I heard years ago, I'm just about to Google it for fact check it. I heard years ago that they found a chamber. It was one of the only, if it may have been the only chamber found under the pyramid. This was back in the 1900s sometimes. And So without going through Google, so I think it might be a bit of a legend that they felt that there was for years there was a local story that there was actually a lake underneath the pyramid itself, and I don't again if this is false, I'm very sorry, but I found this fascinating that when they dug under a certain part of the pyramid and they found this vertical chamber. I think it went down for 2 or 3 stories. And when they got to the bottom, there was a sarcophagus in a great big man-made like swimming pool that had been there since forever, basically. And that the actual sarcophagus went missing after they found it.
Interesting.
It was they had to go down a series. Apparently, I'm going to have to fact check this one, Phil. Definitely. I'll have, and again, I will post it on the feed. If I fact check it and it's incorrect, I will say it's incorrect. You know, it's what it is. Again, just talking off the cuff and
that's it. Which is good to do sometimes. It's not rehearsed. It's just off the cuff, and seeing how things are and just putting some ideas out there. That's all it is, really. You know, like another thing. I was listening to Tim Pope the other night. Actually, yesterday it was. Yesterday I was watching a bit of YouTube and Tim Pope popped up and he was at some conference only recently, and he was talking about there's going to be a reveal very soon about they're able with this new telescope they got that they've had up there for a few years now.
James Webb.
Which one?
Is it James Webb?
James Webb, yes, that's the one. They're able to using that as such a sophisticated telescope, they can use that to see if there is propagation of life, if there's enough oxygen or nitrogen, hydrogen on a planet to see if it could harness life, start life. Anyway, he was quite enigmatic on this conference. I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link on, and I'll put it on the description as well.
Yes, please.
And he was quite enigmatic about that. Really good conference it was. He was on for over an hour, and then he went on slides. Brilliant. I like Nick Pope. And
oh yes, I have seen that. That presentation was breathtaking.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Yes, I have seen it now. Yes.
Yeah, and he was talking. There's going to be revealed, didn't he? There's going to be revealed that there's light. All he could say was there about the possibility of life out there.
Yes,
on a planet.
I think that's how they're going to do disclosure. I think they're going to have to do it from a lot of different angles. It's not going to be enough for them to get a piece of a UFO out and say this is from another planet. First of all, they're going to have to prove it. Do you know what I mean? So to prove it, you're going to have to prove there is life on another planet.
Yeah.
So maybe I heard something quite interesting. I can't remember if it was Nick Pope that said about the infrared stars. Have you? I'll have to find out who said this. Very recently, they said they've been looking with James Webb. I think they've been looking at say just 500,000 stars. And they were actually looking. Oh, I'll tell you, it was Ross Coulthard.
Oh yeah, you like him? He's good.
Yeah, no, it was him. It was one of his very recent ones in the past 2 weeks, definitely. So he's said that Dyson. They were talking about Dyson spheres.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So if a civilization out there has got that advanced, that it could build something around its sun and harness all its energy. Yeah. What we would see from here is an infrared star. We would see the infrared glow, but we wouldn't see a bright burning star. So they've been looking for this signature, if you like, techno signature they're calling it, and they found 7. They found 7 stars out of all them stars they looked at that they cannot explain. And they're infrared as if they're being surrounded by something. They found 7 of them.
Because I heard about one, which was, I think it was called the Mazzy Star, or the, is it Mazzy Star?
I don't know names, Phil. I really don't. I just...
Oh, blimey. What it was, it's a star which is quite famous. They believe it's got a Dyson sphere around it because they can't account for it dimming with such regularity. It dims. It's a big, massive star. I think it's made, if I remember rightly, twice the size of ours, and it dim. Yeah, it just dims.
Something.
It dims, Chris. It's just like boom. And they some top scientists and astronomers, they said, well, could be asteroid belt maybe going past it, an asteroid belt as it does. And they said no, because an asteroid belt would never be as uniform that it would go past and dim to such a degree, because each time it dims in the same amount, it dims the same amount of light. So it has to be something which is a uniform shield,
yes,
in front of it. I'm sure it's called the Mazzy Star. Anyway, yeah. So next time we come on, I'm going to do a bit more referencing on this UFO business.
No problem.
But yeah, no, that's interesting though, isn't it? Dyson sphere. They think that's it. Was it? Yeah, that's it. They think, yeah, because if a population or a civilization reaches the point where it can create that, then it's like the epitome of the top of civilization know-how, isn't it?
Makes us look like garden ants,
Didn't it? I know, exactly.
Squabbling monkeys, eh?
Squabbling monkeys. And don't we just still at the moment? All we've got to do is switch on the news.
It's embarrassing, Phil. We're going to the moon. We're going to Mars. We've got AI. We're just about to get, in the next few years, some sort of reveal that we're not alone. And yet here we are on this planet, still throwing stones at each other. It's
really embarrassing.
It's pathetic.
It's pathetic. But also, is it a case that it's done on purpose? You know, maybe it's deflection of just the moment they're going to do a big reveal, and they know, or maybe they'll do this reveal because there's a private person, there's another nation. Because I mean, I've thought about this: if Russia come out before we do, or Russia come out before, or China comes out, China's had loads of UFO stuff, and they come out and say, right, okay, we're going to tell you what it is. It'd be so embarrassing for the other nations.
Oh, absolutely.
But what are they going to say?
Yeah, I think it would then be, you know, well, my car's bigger than yours. So the Americans would have to come back with something a little bit better than they've given out, you know. Well, if you've got that, we've got this.
Well, more to the point, if they come out and roll out a UFO out of their garage, yeah, and they bring us UFO out, hey, look what we got, and we've had this, and it is alien technology.
And we can fly.
What are the Americans gonna say? What are they gonna say? Are they gonna say, oh yeah, we knew about that, but we kept it from you for decades because we just lied?
But if they had it, and they knew the Americans have got it, wouldn't they have just done that by now?
Is there a coalition? If I had an alien in my I had an alien ship, right, in my garage, and I rolled it out. You had an alien in your garage, aliens, UFO.
Yeah.
And everyone was going, oh, I don't know, him at number 22. Yep. He's I'm sure he's got an alien, and I've seen it. I've seen a little bit. I've seen a glimpse of it as I went by, and it looks just like UFO. I'm sure he's got one. And you kept hiding it and hiding. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I had the same. People were saying the same. There would come a point where we would have to say to each other, look, are we going to do a joint reveal, or are you going to come out and I'm going to end up looking like the liar and the because I've told all these people that I haven't got one.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen in the next couple of weeks, MUFON are going to announce some results of some tests about some materials?
No.
So in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a bit of a reveal. Some materials I think have been submitted for testing, and MUFON have either tested them or they've got the results and they're going to publish them. Apparently, the pieces are from Russia, but it's America that are going to show them. There's been a little bit of controversy on the internet about it. I'll be honest with you, I've been so busy, Phil. I'm ever so slightly behind on this. I need to catch up with this stuff.
Yeah.
Top and bottom of it, they're going to do this reveal of stuff from Russia.
Okay.
Now, in an ideal world, I think everybody should come together on a topic like this. You know, both sides of both parties in the American government have come together on this topic. So there's no reason why, you know, we couldn't get our heads together with the scientists of China and Russia and do a mass presentation. But at the moment, it's still been, I feel it's ever so slightly political. The Americans are getting the Russian pieces out, probably which they obtained when the Berlin Wall came down. They obtained a lot of stuff from Russia. They went over there and just helped themselves over there. And the Russians were quite happily to sell bits and pieces, military, but you know, you could get anything over there for a certain period of time. And I think they acquired some pieces back then, probably in the early 90s, which have been tested. They've been under lock and key, and they're going to get them out. But they're not getting their own toys out, Phil. They're getting somebody else's out. Yeah. Now, as much as I don't agree with what Russia is doing in Ukraine, I think that's it. They're actually already making this political, which is quite sad.
Yeah, yeah. It is, and it'll be very, very interesting. The coming few weeks and months are going to be so interesting, and yeah, I think next time when we come on, let's not keep it quite so long. You know, let's do it a bit quicker, because it has been a couple of months now, I think, since we spoke.
I've been. I'll talk to you one day offline, but I've had a hell of a lot of stuff going on.
No worries, mate. Everyone's busy.
This is the first week which I've had completely clear that I could actually sit down and enjoy talking to somebody without being a grumpy old sod, you know. So
yeah, good.
And it's been a pleasure. So yeah. Anytime you would like to, I'll tell you about the flower above my front door.
My God, yes, we've got that. We've got that to do, the flower. Say no more. Say no more. We are going to that'll be the next episode. The flower. Yes, the flower. Yeah, the flower. UFO.
Other sightings that I've seen after that, and the relevance as well. It was only a few months before one of my heart attacks that I see that flower. Was that close?
It's not until you mentioned it that time, and then I saw it, and I sent a link to Bookster to you where the flower was there, and I was like, "What the hell?"
That was it. That was absolutely it. That was it. That's what I say.
Chris, thank you for coming on.
Pleasure.
You take care. All right. God bless, and I will catch up with you very, very soon.
I'll give you a shout over the weekend. I'll give you a call. All right.
No worries. Thank you once again, Chris, for being on.
Thanks, Phil.
Take care. Bye, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.